What's the nature of your emergency?
Good morning, police, fire, military, and families, and to everybody who is listening in on the Tactical Living podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Walton, and if you are interested in balancing your hormones, raising sex hormones, improving insulin sensitivity, and increasing mitochondria, which are those little powerhouse workers inside of our body that essentially run the show, then today's episode is for you because we are very excited to have our guest, who is the president of BioProtein Technology and creator of BioPro, which is the first 100% non-synthetic alternative to prescription growth hormone. Dustin Baker, thank you so much for coming onto our show this morning.
Thank you, Ashley, for having me. I'm very excited. This is a new type of setup here. It's going live, so I'm actually very excited. I'm genuinely thrilled to be on the show.
So we're very excited to have you. And having said that, that means that we get to bombard Dustin in the comments section, which you should do anyways, because we're giving away a $50 Black Rifle Coffee gift card to whoever comments the most within 24 hours. So if you have questions, please drop them down below. And Dustin, can you kind of introduce yourself and a little bit of your background before we get into the things that you're doing now?
Yes, I can. My name is, as Ashley said, my name is Dustin Baker. I'm president of a company called BioProtein Technology. We're a company that primarily focuses on creating and providing alternatives to synthetic hormone and drug therapies. So our big thing that Ashley just talked about was BioPro Plus. It's the first of its kind non-synthetic alternative to human growth hormone prescription therapies. I got my start in professional athletics and professional athletic training, collegiate athletics, all types of competitive training, which led me to this venture of finding these incredible formulas here in Florida, acquiring a company and doing whatever I can to take these formulas that elite athletes are using and in the medical space and providing them to individuals all over the country, like normal, people like you and me, and now globally. So, I mean, that's really as fast as it goes.
That's a great segue for this, but I want to backtrack a little bit because I did some social stalking on you. And in a couple of the interviews that I heard you do, you made mention of the fact that health and fitness wasn't always something that was a part of the game for you. It wasn't something that you learned as a child, and it wasn't something that you were brought up with, which I think is important if we could just talk about that, because there are so many of us, myself included. I very much related when you said that it wasn't something that your parents taught you because they didn't know any better. And I was one of those premature babies that my mom smoked while she was pregnant with me, just because they didn't know any better. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I typically try and skip over that huge long story, but no, this is a passion that's near and dear to my heart. Just as you said, I grew up exactly the opposite of health and wellness. To carry on exactly what you literally just said, my dad was a minor league football player who smoked cigarettes, on the sidelines. That was their thing, right? I grew up in a single family household, just by my single mom. We didn't know. We were more concerned with just eating and not actually what we were eating. We had no idea. We weren't taught nutrition. We didn't know it. We listened to whatever the physician said, which a lot of, medical movement these days is pharmacology and not nutritional advice, especially to families. It's just get by. So, you can kind of trace back my career to a day in my, mid-20s when I had spent the previous years of my life being, for lack of a better term, a degenerate, a lot of drinking, a lot of partying. I was, I'm a millennial, so I had no real purpose in life. I was all over the place. College wasn't for me. I barely squeaked by in high school. And one day a friend who was very involved in the health and wellness space and fitness space was kind of like, hey man, why don't you stop doing what you're doing and just come to the gym with me tomorrow? And that is, I talk about this point that day on a lot of the interviews that I do, because that was this huge paradigm shift in my entire life. Throughout my life, I had zero discipline. Health and wellness was the last thing on my mind. I had zero motivation, zero drive. I had zero goals. That one day in the gym just gave Dustin something that he didn't know he could do. Like it created for anybody that's in the health and fitness space, you'll probably agree with me when I say this, like it's not always just about working out or getting healthy. Fitness really gives you this, this discipline because you have to execute it every day, right? You have to move the needle forward every day in some way, shape, or form. It takes planning, it takes preparation, it takes an individual doing something. It doesn't feel good all the time. It feels good afterwards. It's a painful experience sometime in a good way, and you have to delay gratification during that current moment to then achieve a goal that is further off in the distance, which fitness gave me that. So that's why that one day was so important to me. And I talk about a lot of my interviews because that was everything. It catapulted me through. I mean, I started in these little gyms cleaning toilets and fixing equipment. And before I knew it, I'm getting invited to the NFL Combine and helping NCAA guys, get contracts. So it's been a while. It's been a crazy, wild ride.
Yeah, I think it's important to talk about a backstory like that. Oklahoma is in the cool front right now. We're in the mid 80s. I'm jealous of that, Derek. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Hello. You a stalker. Yeah, sometimes I am an undercover social media stalker. Doctors receive approximately 4 hours on nutrition. Yeah, and I love that you very delicately mentioned the allopathic field and what the variance is now with people learning a lot about their own health and nutrition and the fact that there's different modalities, which is exactly what we're going to get into in talking about the products that you've created and are now producing to people worldwide. Good morning, Melody. So talk to us a little bit about what human growth hormone even is.
Sure. Human growth hormone is a master hormone. It's dominant in both men and women. So that's like a big thing. I think a lot of women actually jump over the fact that you're human growth hormone and they think bodybuilders, gyms, like crazy, stuff that a lot of women potentially are or may not be interested in. But it's important to know that it's both men. It's a dominant hormone in both men and women. It is created in the pituitary gland in your brain. It's sent to the liver to be metabolized into growth factors. And then these growth factors, which are these little cool signaling devices, get sent out into the blood and they tell cells to do stuff. So whether that's your metabolism, whether that's the collagen in your skin, which are cells in your skin, whether that's muscle cells, these little signals that are created by growth hormone, growth factors, are sent out into the blood and they just signal cells to do stuff. So they signal muscle growth, they signal repair, they signal oxygen potency in the blood. So every year you age after puberty, your human growth hormone actually decreases. You can't stop it. Doesn't matter how good you eat. Doesn't matter how much you train. You can delay a lot of this stuff, but you just can't stop it. It's like a physician here in town that we work with. He's got a really great analogy. It's like getting a paper cut every day. After, let's just say 18. It's like getting a paper cut every day after 18. You don't notice every little cut every day. It's not until like you're like 40, 44, and all of a sudden you have lacerations all over your entire body. And then you're like, oh man, I don't feel well. I don't sleep well. I have anger outbursts. I have depression, anxiety, all these. I'm gaining weight, especially around my midsection. I can't get rid of. All of these are like little telltale signs. Your growth hormone is super low. So that's what growth hormone does. It's a master hormone. It helps to it's the primary driver between functions like metabolism, mental focus, cognition, weight loss, human performance, all that kind of stuff.
And to my understanding, the product that you provide is almost more so of a conductor that is facilitating and enhancing what our bodies naturally do on their own. So can you talk to us a little bit about that versus the difference of like injectable steroids, for example?
1,000%. Yeah. So it's important to know, like, once you start, and I want to say this disclaimer up front, I am in no way against medical applications and medical therapies, depending upon how they're being prescribed, if they're being prescribed appropriately and for the right causes, which is a whole nother subject. But the reason I say that is for this next piece, which is anytime you introduce a synthetic exogenous or outside hormone, and you replace what your body makes naturally, you are going to incur some sort of side effect because you are introducing a synthetic substance into your body, and your body's going to notice it's a synthetic substance or that it's getting extra of that hormone, and it will slow down, stop, or cause any other problems with your natural production, whether it's testosterone, estrogen, etc. So the point being is that we like to focus on the end result of human growth hormone. So the end result of human growth hormone are called growth factors. And those growth factors are those cellular signaling devices. So our formula, BioPro Plus, is simply the growth factors that we get from a natural source that can stimulate those same types of processes without ever impacting your natural production of that hormone. So we don't incur or cause any of the side effects you might get from a synthetic drug or a substance that you're taking in from outside of your body.
So when we think about how it was when we were kids and how easy it was to bounce back or to have that energy, it's very similar to making sure that we're filling up the bucket as much as we can. Is that right?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So what we're doing is let's say at 18, when you could get 4 hours of sleep, if not any, and you're good the next day, you're working out every single day, and you have no problems. Let's say you're at 100. Okay. And every year after that, you decrease. And then by, sometimes human growth hormone goes down by 50% by the age 35. Okay. Mm-hmm. So then let's say you are at 60 at age 45. Well, we're going to help you to offset that difference of 60 to 100. We don't ever spur your body to naturally go past what it can do naturally. So we don't incur any of the type of side effects some of them are pretty nasty when you're looking at synthetic drugs, enlarged heart. Remember, these are muscles. Your heart is smooth muscle tissue. It's going to grow with the introduction of other type, muscular type growing therapies. That happens too. So that's a big, scary one we like to stay away from, which is the enlarged heart, which causes all kinds of problems. Carpal tunnel is one. Insulin resistance, which is your body's inability or lack of ability to use insulin appropriately, which causes weight gain and all kinds of nasty stuff. We stay away from all that. That's the entire purpose of our product, is to not cause those things.
So Dustin, if a person is already on a diet that is improving insulin resistance, let's say they're in ketosis or they just have a natural lifestyle that's already promoting that, what would be the benefit of taking something like this in addition to their current lifestyle?
Well, that's a really great question, actually. That would be more of a subjective question. It depends on some of the other issues that they might be facing. When you're looking at insulin sensitivity specifically, which is blood sugar utilization, if they're already, doing things to help that, this is simply going to kind of press the gas pedal down and move forward and move faster to that end goal. But even with diet and exercise, sometimes you're just not able to actually produce or really offset a huge gap that we go through when we start to hit 40, 50 plus years old.
That makes sense. When I posted the promo for your interview yesterday, I had somebody who texted me a question that they wanted to ask you, and they had asked, what would be the difference in me just consuming a great deal of protein and trying to do this on my own versus taking something like this?
Well, you can do it on your own. There's lots. In fact, I'll give you 3 right now. You can do for free, and that can help you increase natural growth hormone production. It'll help you increase other great hormones like testosterone and estrogen. And you can do this naturally. The first is to cut out sugar about 3 hours before you go to bed. The reason why is because sugar is the main driver of spiking insulin. And if you're messing with your insulin levels before bed, which is when most of human growth hormone is secreted, guess what? You're going to impact negatively how your hormones secreted. So boom, do that right then and there. You can get more sleep. If you're getting less than 7 hours of sleep and you're over the age of 30, bad idea. Sleep is so magically impactful and the most underutilized tool in not only medicine, but just health and well-being over in general. You should really do whatever you can to get non-interrupted, really great sleep. If you're waking up more than once a night, your hormone secretion is impacted. 70 to 90% of all your hormone secretion happens at night. So if you're messing with that, big no-no. So improve your sleep. And the second is high-intensity interval training. It's proven over and over, time and time again, to increase natural human growth hormone production. And the reason is it's not during the exercise, it's that the exercise is so intense that it actually causes that production shortly thereafter the workout. So you can do those 3 things right now, free. Go for it. Knock yourself out. In fact, I highly recommend it. When it comes to just eating protein, protein is a building block of life. It's not actually going to signal your cells to do certain things. Like protein's not going to help you to increase blood oxygen supply in your blood. It's not going to do that. It's not going to help spur collagen multiplication and differentiation, which is the cells in your skin that actually keep it tight and elastic. It's not going to do that. It's just going to give you energy source for doing those processes, but you still have to stimulate them with a cytokine, which is a cell signaler. You have to signal those cells. If you don't have that communication, there's nothing to tell your cells to even repair, to use the protein for what it's for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. So to the person who asked that, who I know is listening right now, essentially taking human growth hormone would help the absorption of the protein that you're consuming
absolutely.
on a regular
protein
basis.
Increase uptake. Yep.
So Derek says here, sleep is hard to get when you're in law enforcement. Would this product be a good replacement of protein? I think we just talked about that, Derek. So go back.
Yeah, but I'd like to actually answer a question for Derek about sleep, about law enforcement, because I get these questions personally all the time. So we work a lot in the private security space, especially overseas. Australia is a big one. I get law enforcement officers all the time, fire guys, first responders, same thing. I don't have a natural sleep. Like I don't have a sleep cycle that I can keep, really drilling. Like it's not every day. It fluctuates all the time. Totally understand. And I can't imagine living like that. I don't personally have to go through that. So it's tough, but I do work with these guys. And I didn't mean to jump off, but we do make a different product that you take right before bed that actually is an alternative to like sleep aids. And it helps to get your body into the actual repairing cycles of your sleep cycles, which is NREM and REM sleep, faster. So you can get more, basically you get better sleep in less time. We like to say it's like getting 8 hours of sleep in 6. So there's always things you can do, to do that. And that's what we do. That would be a better alternative than even just the BioPro Plus. And that's called BioPro Plus Core to Sleep, but it's just on our page. It's a great addition either way. But so yeah, to answer your question, Derek, it would help. You just, take it 30 minutes before you do go to sleep.
How long? Yeah, that I definitely need for sure. How long would somebody need to consume that before they would start to see the results
of sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, the first day, 100%.
Oh, really?
We call it our gateway drug, because anytime anybody questions our products, which is literally my job, is to, overcome objections from physicians of our products. Literally, that's all I do. I travel the country and then I try and have doctors prove me wrong, and I have to explain it to them. We, the sleep product, literally, we call it a gateway drug, because if you don't believe anything we say, you take that. It works the very first night, and all your questions are out the window, because it is what it is. It works. It's great.
Yeah, there's no denying it when you have the proof in that way. Before we wrap this up, I know we're running out of time here, but I do want to touch on raising your sex hormone, how our sex hormones even evolve as we age, and your product as it pertains to men versus women.
So good. I like that. Great question. Okay, so I'll do this as quickly as I can. So the same way that growth factors signal cells to spur muscle development or spur mental focus, cognition, etc., they also have we actually have said it quite a few times, which is blood supply, potency, as well as we have growth factors in the product for neurological development and nerve regeneration. So that actually helps really big time with men and women that are both facing, downed libido, by fixing, for lack of a better term, to keep it short and easy, a lot of the issues that occur as we age with our libido and our actual physical parts. So also, when you have low growth hormone or insulin growth factor 1, which is a specific metabolite of HGH, you cannot exert the full benefits of testosterone or estrogen, which are your male and your female hormones that are also responsible for libido and sexual performance. So even if you're taking exogenous hormones from your physician, which is fine, you can't actually exert the full benefits, especially in the space of libido, without raising or having adequate human growth hormone or IGF-1 levels as well. So we're just offsetting the gaps that individuals seem to suffer with the most by just replacing with what they're not making up much of anymore.
Yeah, that's great. This is definitely not a family channel. I don't know who said that just now. A question here for you, Dustin. If someone's regularly receiving testosterone injections, does this replace that or is this an addition to?
No, and that piggybacks off of what I just said, which is that is probably the most common question we get from guys, period, is I'm on TRT. What about this? Okay. No, this does not replace testosterone. We're talking about two very different hormones. We're talking about growth hormone on our end, and we're talking about testosterone on your end. Those are two different hormones. They are both master hormones in men. You cannot have one without the other, meaning if you're taking TRT and you have not had your IGF-1 levels checked, which is how you check for your levels of growth hormone, your doctor is massively missing literally half of the entire puzzle. If you have too low of growth hormone or too low of IGF-1 levels, you literally can't even exert the full benefits of a synthetic therapy. So that's why guys take these drugs and they're like, I still don't feel much better. Well, you're missing half the puzzle here. You have to do them both.
And unlike testosterone, can you talk about the way that your product is consumed?
Yeah, we don't like needles. We don't like injection stuff. There's only a couple other ways to get medication into your system fast. That is, people, they make suppositories rectally. Injections are the top two. We don't like either one of those. We don't make either one of those. So we take it sublingually, meaning it gets absorbed through the blood vessels in your mouth. We have an agent that we add to it that literally expresses the blood vessels in your mouth so you can absorb the product directly into your bloodstream. And it just takes about 90 seconds. You just swallow whatever's left and you're good to go.
And as a consumer, somebody's able to get this on their own without needing to see a doctor first?
100%. So we have created a very specific web portal where you can go on and buy it like anything else. You just have to select, if your physician carries it, you can literally select your physician. There's a geo tracker. You can put in your zip code and it shows up. If you don't have a doctor, we literally provide one for you. There's no consult. There's none of this. It's simply a formality of, you can go on, click the doc, get approval, and it gets shipped right to your door. And we ship pretty much everything super express. So a couple days and you're off to the races.
Yeah, and I'm asking you selfishly these questions that I want to get as people are asking them, Dustin. Can a nutritionally balanced eating program reverse some of the deficiency?
1,000%. Absolutely. We just talked about the sugar reduction. If you can balance out your blood sugar utilization and your insulin levels and how your body utilizes food, that's going to be a massive impact because human growth hormone is directly related to how your insulin performs. 100%. That will help. However, how much, that's a totally subjective question depending upon the individual, the lifestyle choice, their sleep, their exercise, all of those factors. Remember, it's a puzzle piece. It's not just you press a button and everything's good. Natural lifestyle changes are a huge puzzle and you need all the pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can somebody get this product in their hands? What's your website?
BioProteinTech.com, BioProteintech.com. Go on there. There's 3 products to choose from. Go ahead and get BioPro Plus, select a doc, and you're off. You're good. You're off to the races. Get shipped out today and it'll probably be in your hands in the next 3 days.
Awesome. And I noticed that when you go onto your website, you can get a $20 off coupon when you first visit it. So make sure to take
100%.
advantage of that. If you have any more questions, drop them in the comments below and we'll make sure to send them over to Dustin. And Dustin, thank you so much for sharing your value with our group this morning. I really have enjoyed interviewing you and having you on our show.
Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it. I had a good time. Thanks so much for having me.
Bye, everybody.